Infrangible by Michael. Archive. Mars 2153. Earth has been lost. Human societies have collapsed. Global warming, economic collapse, peak oil, migrations of people. The blue planet gradually warmed up during the first quarter of the 21st century, thus creating repeated water stresses, food and medical distress, leading to less and less tenable borders. Despite all this, the most important thing for man remained to create wealth, sell goods, achieve all his most unlikely desires while creating a climate of fear. All this to the detriment of living, to the detriment of nature, to the detriment of limited resources, to the detriment of morals, ethics, and reason itself. No matter if the destiny of this blue gem was to end up like its cousin Venus. However, around the year 2025, on the eve of these cascading dramas, a handful of humans had prepared for such an eventuality and had done everything possible to protect themselves from this grim fate. Their project, to which they had given the name Erebus, was to leave the Earth. Its purpose? To orbit around Mars, to give Earth time to regain its environmental balance, which would require between 8 centuries and a millennium. This objective was obviously protected and kept secret, each person joining the project being placed under close supervision. The preparation and implementation of this program was going to take many years because everything had to be of nanometric precision. Such a mission presupposed a monumental anticipation ranging from the design of the rockets and the stasis pod, launch and orbit preparation, possible landing until the development for a viable location in the event of an anomaly. A whole arsenal of equipment had to be provided, including compact resource extractors, equipment to create structures, housing, engineering warehouse, agricultural zones, oxygen production by heating CO2 to around 800 degrees to recover O2, access to drinking water by melting the ice beneath the surface, then filtering it and transporting it to housing and agricultural zones. We also had to provide the resources needed for construction, manpower, androids, electrical installations, and the means to store oil reserves. As for the launch window, it could only be scheduled once the project had been finalized. Time was already of the essence. The best researchers and engineers were recruited and to all was promised a place on board for the great departure, knowing that a minimum of 500 people would be needed to repopulate the Earth on the returning journey. 2041 was just around the corner. After a colossal amount of planning work, the execution phase was about to begin. The construction of the rockets, approximately one per year, and the installation of all the necessary equipment on board. Never before in the history of mankind had such a goal been conceived, let alone achieved in such a short time. Launching 14 rockets, 4 of which were safety rockets, at virtually the same time was madness. Time was pressing more than ever, and the effects of global warming and the lack of certain resources essential to the project were making themselves more and more noticeable. Key materials such as nickel, cobalt, lithium were becoming increasingly difficult to obtain. Fortunately, black markets were beginning to proliferate, which helped matters enormously since money was no obstacle thanks to the silent partners. After 50 years of hard work and without any major setbacks, the project was completed around 2053. This left 2 more years to fine-tuning, revising, ensuring, reviewing, checking, controlling. January 13, 2058, Bandhan Space Center, United States, location unspecified. Date and place set for the great departure. The best possible launch window at the completion of this gargantuan project. Everything necessary was installed in each of the 9 storage rockets. The only thing left to do was to board the passengers, 500 in all, in 5 rockets, 100 per rocket. First came the big names of the project, who were put to sleep with sleeping pills before boarding, then placed in the stasis pods to begin their dormitions. But during the launch, 1 rocket full of equipment and 2 others, each containing around 100 people, exploded in midair. The others left the atmosphere and gradually reached escape velocity, around 11 kilometers per second. After a journey of just under 5 months, thanks to the photonic propulsion, humans are saved. Here they are, orbiting the red planet, safe and sound in its metallic cocoon. In the Darian calendar, it is Sol Mercury 18 Libra 238. In the Gregorian calendar, Wednesday, June 15th, 2058. On board, the androids were organizing the launch of several capsules of various equipment and androids for deployment in the Diacria quadrangle, to land near Erebus Montes to begin the Project Nemesis, to the north in the Arcadia Planitia region. The aim was to construct several buildings of 3 stories and a basement, followed by 2 specialized permaculture domes linked by a main anti-radiation tunnel, as well as 2 other tunnels linked to a mini-dome adjoining each one for sorting and storing crops. A solar panel farm also had to be installed. In addition, a transformer and a boiler room had to be installed in the basement of each building to transform the ice, which was only a few centimeters above the surface, into water. Slightly to the south, a hangar, a creation center equipped with 3D printers. That's what most structures were created with, for transportation's sake. All construction, commissioning tests and viability checks were delegated to service androids. Everything went smoothly, and after 13 years of preparation, the objective was achieved. The androids undertook maintenance cycles, corrosion check, parts replacement, etc. In 289, after approximately 50 Martian years, 95 Earth years, of deep sleep, an anomaly was detected. The stasis pods were no longer sustainable, with approximately 2 months remaining before extinction. The regulator core was damaged and irrecoverable, despite prevention plans. It controlled all the pods. The androids had therefore begun the food harvesting cycles, as well as filling the drinking water reserves and powering the batteries via solar panels. 2 weeks before the core was shut down, the 300 stasis pods were deployed on Mars, but not all of them reached their destination intact. 218 were destroyed during the landing, 5 damaged, killing the people inside, and 18 died during transport. The remaining 59, intact, were taken away by the androids. They were taken to one of the 100-person buildings, where all survivors were placed on the 2nd floor, in apartments for families, singles, and couples. Each person woke up at their own pace, with a medical android attached to the pod monitoring their recovery, still inside the pod, which was equipped with medical tools in case of need, still active for 10 days. The androids explained the situation to the 59 survivors, but not all of them had taken the information in the best possible way. 95 years being a long way from the 800 minimum needed to return to Earth, and 59 survivors far too few to repopulate anything. Some needed psychological support, but the situation gradually improved with time. Time to mourn. This is what can be read in broad terms inside the archives, freely accessible in each of the rooms of the Nemesis station. 1 Martian year, 2 Earth years later.